We're here on Drinking with O, the show that's a conversation in a bar. Today, not only a bar, we are at Helton Brewing with owner Brian. How you doing, Brian?
Doing great today, thanks, man.
Hey, so tell me a little bit about what we're drinking here.
All right, you got our Northeast IPA, 6.2% on the alcohol, 50 IBUs, so it's a nice, easy, hazy.
Okay, yeah.
I'm drinking a Boysenberry Sour.
Boysenberry.
Yeah, these are pretty much two of our most popular selling beers right now.
Oh yeah? Hey, well cheers, man.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you guys for coming out today.
Oh, are you kidding me? Thanks for having us. That's good. That is easy drinking. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's got a nice little strawberry slash, citrus vibe back to it. And the haze craze is what everything's about right now.
Totally. Yeah, I feel like I go to, but I like it. You know, as far as like gimmicks go, I think that's good.
Yeah.
Because some of the, I feel like I'm sure that you guys see tons of beer gimmicks come and go.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So right now you think it's the haze craze. It's got a name and everything. What are some of the ones that you're happy that they're gone? Good riddance to.
I don't think any of them. I mean, I mean, I love to brew multiple styles of beer. I don't want to be kind of pigeonholed of only doing one or two styles.
Totally.
But no, there's anytime one of these come around, they always kind of inspire all of us to play around and make a beer, and we talk about it and try each other's beers, and yeah, it's always a learning process. So I love this industry. Yeah,
absolutely. I can only imagine. I mean, because there's a beer that's brewed with the craziest thing. There's always one that does something like that. Is there anything that you guys ambitiously like, oh, one day we're going to try this, but it's a little too crazy? Like I threw out the other day, I was sitting with someone and said, you know what, I've never seen it. I bet you there's some sort of like chorizo infused beer out there.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Pretty much everyone's, getting crazy and wild and putting all kinds of things in beer. No, for us, our next stage, and we're kind of in the process of a little side project of doing a sour house, because when you can do a kettle sour, it's pretty safe to do in your brewery. But once you start putting in barrels and aging for a year in foeders and start bringing in pediococcus and Brett, all these other bugs that they get loose in here.
Yeah.
So you almost have to have an off-site facility that you can do that. So that's the next stage for us, playing around. And now you're taking mixed cultures of yeast and playing around with it. And it's kind of like that next level, so to speak, of playing around.
So you're talking, something would get loose? That has to do with brewing a sour?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's certain bugs, and if you think about it, beer is kind of a very harsh environment. We're really about 4.2 on the pH. It's a lot of alcohol. So a lot of things can't really grow in beer, but the ones that can grow are, pretty nasty.
Oh, yeah. Okay, that
like
makes
pediococcus,
sense.
it's like I always call it the alien,
Yeah.
Once it gets loose in your brewery, it's really hard to track down, and you can't kill it ever.
Yeah.
So, it's...
just burn her down, start again.
Yeah, basically, So it's going to be fun to get to that level where we can do that and start doing some blends and using different yeasts and everything together to get flavors that we want. Yeah.
How long have you guys been here? Did you have another location, or this is the first?
This is my very first one.
Okay.
I've been brewing now for about 27 years. We've been here at this location for less than 2 years.
Less than 2 years?
Yeah, May 9th is our second year anniversary. We're having a barn bash on the 19th. So 2 great cowpunk bands. We're bringing in a great tattoo artist.
No way.
6 guys will be doing live graffiti outside. We have a bunch of street rods all throughout the brewery. People are going to walk around and check it.
That's crazy.
If you think about what we're doing with these barn bashes, I have them once a quarter. Everything is about art.
Yeah.
My beer is art, so people can come. We'll do about 2 or 3 tappings of a new beer that day. The graffiti's art. The music's art.
Oh yeah,
totally. The street is art. Guys chopping down these sleds and putting pinstripes. That's art. Everything is art. So you can kind of walk around with your beer and kind of check it out. It's kind of neat.
It definitely shows, because you guys, I walked in. Well, the first time I walked in, actually, I've been here before. I was pretty hammered and came in and was like, "Oh, this place is the coolest. I fucking love this place." And then I kind of forgot exactly what was the name of the place I went to. So when we walk in this morning, I was like, how do I, oh shit, this is where I came with my buddy, and oh yeah, this place is truly an art piece. Yeah. Everything's kind of like specialty and custom made looking, and it's super cool.
Definitely custom made, because we kind of did it ourselves. We literally built, up there is a picture of a barn. I tore down 2 barns in Indiana.
Oh, really?
Just to build this place. So you can see there's my siding, here's my barn wood.
That's
We brought all the wood back to build the bar, and the tables ourselves, raw.
Wow.
Yeah, the doors here are recycled from Phoenix Opera House when they changed over.
Really?
So we did a lot of recycling, and mostly out of necessity.
Yeah.
I just had I bought the biggest building I can because I did not want to go into a lease. A lot of times when you lease with a brewery, you start making more money. Of course, the lease will go up.
Oh yeah.
You know, and so the utilities and everything you have to do to build a brewery is like, you know, it's always better. So when it came to the other aspect of capital, we pretty much did what we had to do to make it happen.
Yeah, because this is a big area. I mean, you have the whole, and we'll be moving around later too, but the whole outside patio area, obviously the brewing area. How much of this is not visible? Because I mean, it's so open that it looks huge. Is there even more back of house?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, yeah, back of the house and back of the breweries. It's a big C building. I got 7 garage doors, which is always great because that's how you get equipment in and out.
Yeah.
And a brewery is always designed almost like a horseshoe, where ingredients is going to come in, my malt, and then it gets brewed, then it gets packaged, and out the door it goes from the receiving area. So I got 2 receiving areas that semis can pull in, and it's just a nice flow. It's a great building for us.
What were some of the? I mean, there had to have been some kind of pitfalls, and I can't imagine an endeavor this big would have gone perfectly smoothly, especially when you're talking about trucks coming in and bottling and sending it out. That seems like logistically.
Yeah, it's it's almost like running 3 different companies at once. I mean, we're still a brewing company, but we're doing wholesale and packaging, and then we turn around and we have our tasting room up front. We're developing a better food program. I got some really talented chefs now that's just joined our team. So slowly, we're building this. I didn't want to be that flash in the pan and come in, and I never wanted to be a restaurant or a bar.
Yeah.
You notice there's no TVs. I want to foster the environment of meeting new people, eye contact, compared to people like talking. Before you know it, their eyes go straight to the TV.
Totally. And it's even if it's something dumb, and I would like to say I'm not that guy, but I can definitely get drawn to all of a sudden, it's like, table tennis world championships, like, I don't play that. I don't play that, but it's a little, and then, I always say this, but it makes me feel like I'm at like a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Exactly. Nor do I want that or want to compete with those guys.
Exactly. It's like, hey, if I want Buffalo Wild Wings, I'll go there, but I don't want to go somewhere expecting something, and then it just feels like that. Yeah. So I think that's fantastic, man. Yeah. And you guys have, all these like nooks and crannies, I feel like, for people exactly like you're talking about meeting. There's like different, lower tops, high tops, small tables, big tables, and a big community table. I imagine that's like probably awesome to see people interacting with each other there.
Yeah, that was kind of nice. Like I said, when we called the sawmill in Indiana to order everything, because if you think about it, Arizona, we don't have hardwood. So for me to cut out the middleman, I mean, we literally hired a semi-driver and we loaded everything up in that thing. So when I called the sawmill to order the wood for the bar and the table, I told them I wanted this nice conference table. We call it the brewer's table, but I want it to be live edge. Yeah. And I am from Indiana, if you don't realize that or listen to my accent, but we have all the Indiana license plates up here. Yeah. So sycamore is our state tree, and that's what they made that table out of. So it's kind of neat.
Yeah. Goes full circle. Yeah. Goes full circle.
Beautiful table.
So you're talking about not wanting it to be a TV bar, not wanting it to be this, and you guys do function as so many things. Is there anything else that you're kind of steering clear of? Because some places, although I love it, some places will be like, we don't want to be a game bar. We don't want to have like games out. Yeah. Or to me, I really enjoy that, but some people have a stance.
No, I mean, if you come here on any given night, we have a huge mix of people here, which I always enjoy, from, old, young, Harley guys. I mean, it's always a great mix of people here, and that's really what I want. I want to be that fostering area where we are the neighborhood bar. We're the neighborhood brewery. That's what I like to say. Yeah. So, no, like I said, I just don't ever want to get into the pigeonhole myself to be nothing more than a sports bar or restaurant. Because that's not what we're trying to do.
Totally. And I think that it's nice to have, like I guess I didn't peruse your menu, but what kind of food are you, if you're not trying to be, a restaurant, what kind of food do you feel like best complements just your atmosphere?
Well, we first started off just doing the cheese and charcuterie because me and Rob basically built this place, and then we had to turn around and concentrate on brewing. Yeah. Cheese and charcuterie. I mean, there's a couple things that can ruin a bar or a restaurant. That's labor and food costs and waste. Totally. So, there's no waste with cheese and charcuterie, right? Yeah. So, and it's been going on.
I love that, man. Oh, man. I'm a huge fan.
I mean, we didn't reinvent something. If you think about it, that's how, the very first appetizers over in Europe when it comes to beer. It's always been cheese, bread, and beer. Yeah. So it's nothing new. But now that we've moved on and we're starting the brewery's set, now we're working on the front of the house. I got a great staff. Now we're working on the back of the house, the kitchen. So right now it's sandwiches and salads. our nachos sell like crazy. We
Oh,
have
I have to admit, I'm a nacho fan
Oh
too.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then Heidelberg is right next to us, and they have really great pretzels.
Okay.
So it's kind of like that, and we're kind of moving more into like we have an event on Thursday. We're going to be doing smoked frog legs.
Oh, really?
We'll be doing certain nights where
shit.
we'll do something, and it's almost like that chalkboard menu. When it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah.
But you're always going to be able to come in here and have something unique and different because we got some talented people back there. And because of we're young, it's nice to give those guys artistic freedom, just like we give ourselves as brewers.
Yeah.
So whatever they want to do, we let them. If we're doing something like, all right, the boysenberry sour, and their creativity minds take off on them, and they wanted to do a special dish or appetizer to, complement that
to
beer.
pair that.
There
Yeah.
you go. Let them run with it.
Oh, that's super cool. I like that. And I think that's what's cool about being a place that is, obviously independently owned and agile enough to
Yeah.
do stuff like that. That
Yeah.
it's not. How long does it take for you guys to go through? Like if you have one beer, let's say this boysenberry sour.
Yeah.
So how long will you have that if you? Obviously you could continue it forever, but how long will you have that as an option to order?
Right now, we haven't really established ourselves as saying that we're flagship is this, nor do I want that. You got to kind of watch it, because if you don't, then the only thing you're brewing is Northeast IPA constantly.
Yeah.
If we have a good mix where we even have an American Pilsner that is extremely popular, and a couple of breweries actually are carrying that as well. So those are our 3 beers that we do a lot of, but we got 12 beers on, usually always. And coffee oatmeal brown. I got a blackberry sour. We have a
Blackberry sour.
Blackberry.
Hey.
I got a sake goza, which is like it's kind of a salted beer, but we never utilize that type of yeast strain.
Yeah.
So we use a little sake yeast and some puff jasmine rice to see what happens. And turn around, we've added some black limes that were already fermented. That was a collaboration I did with Dark Sky Brewing Company out of Flagstaff.
That's so cool.
Yeah, just something different.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know? So it's usually how collabs are. We sit there and start talking, and somewhere someone got inspired to do this, or they heard about that. Before you know it, we're brewing it, having a good time. So
that seems like such an intense process, mixing all these ingredients that to me seem each one kind of like a endeavor to go on.
sure.
Do you guys ever make something that you're like, it didn't work out?
No, I don't think so. I mean, you have to look at what we do as being industrial chefs, and with that type of experience, you know exactly what you're looking for. But beer is almost like a 3-legged stool. I say it's like you have it in your head how you want the beer to end up, but then you have the brew day, which so many things can go on a brew day.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
malfunctions, water chemistry, which doesn't really affect us. We break everything down and build the salts and minerals back up to do the water source that we want.
Okay.
But these are just the trials and tribulations that brewers have to go through. And then the end product is, well, there's all kinds of things from how you distribute it to the gases. And if it all hits, then it's something you can sit on. It's a good stool. In other
Yeah.
words, pretty decent beer.
Yeah.
We're never happy. We're always like, oh, next time.
Oh,
we're gonna
like
do
I
this,
would have
and
done
small
this.
tweaks,
I would have done this.
So we're always, perfecting it. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with that.
I guess that must come to with just you've been doing it for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So at least it must be so second nature. Things that to me I would be like, I totally missed that, or I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
So I guess maybe it's also an experience thing. But it's always impressive to me that people can make all these different beers and they're all good.
Yeah.
But I ain't never met a beer I didn't like.
Apparently, you slammed that one quick.
Well, it is.
I like
Obviously,
that.
it's thirsty. It's hot outside. It's getting hot. I got a long sleeve shirt on. It's too much.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it. We'll get you another one.
Yeah. I was gonna say let's get into another one. Let's try a different one.
All right.
Let's move somewhere else so we can highlight this awesome place.
Cool.
So tell me about what we're drinking now.
All right.
So darker.
Yeah, it's a darker beer. This is going to be, there's like 3 different beer drinkers, the way I look at it.
Okay.
You have your people that just really like light pilsners, and they're not much in the craft, Still the #1 selling beer in the world, so you can't deny that.
Totally.
But we do a pilsner. I don't filter any of my beers. No preservatives, chemicals, stabilizers.
Wow.
So we always have something like that. We call it brewer's slow drip because we drink it all day long.
Yeah,
You know?
and you can.
Yeah, it's a
not,
lower alcohol
yeah,
beer, and it's like, I can't drink my IPA from 11 o'clock in the morning until 11 o'clock at night.
Totally.
We do sometimes, but
But it's not advisable.
advisable. So this is the other spectrum, and this is for the people that really don't like hops. So
Yeah.
if you don't have a bitter flavor compounds on your palate that you enjoy, this is going to be more malty. It's sweet. We use lactose in it, so it gives a nice body. But it's really chocolate, nice roasted characters.
Okay.
Easy to drink. It's
Yeah.
not carbonated. We
Okay.
throw it through a nitrogenator, so it gives that nice sense
Yeah.
of creaminess on the palate.
Yeah.
where it's just the opposite. My Pilsner is highly carbonated, so it's nice and effervescent. You can scrub the lipids off your palate, so it's great for food, but that's also great for food too, roasted meats and what have you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what's going on. And
Two other sides of the coin.
Yeah, and then we're going to move on to my IPAs later on, and you guys will see. And that's where the other third person to say is all your hopheads.
Yeah.
You know, and I am definitely a hophead, and it's almost you almost can't make up a beer hoppy enough for any of us.
People go nuts, and I've seen over 100 IBU, and it's like 8%. Yeah. And it's great, but I'm like, man, how much farther are they going to push it?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it just is there a group of people who are kind of just trying to make it the most bitter beer ever?
That was probably, when I'd say, like 5 or 6 years ago, the whole West Coast, but I think we're moving a lot more towards late hop additions. I mean, I'm doing stuff now that I would have never done 10, 15 years ago brewing IPA.
Yeah.
I got a couple of my IPAs, I don't even add bittering hops. It's all at the very end. So we boil it and do everything that you would naturally do. In the process, let's say with like the Pilsner, I could add hops 3 times during the boil. My IPAs now, I'm only adding at the very, very end when flame out, whirlpool, and we throw all that in. What it does is not going to bring in the hop bitterness. What it's going to give you is the aromas and the flavors of the hops. Because there's so many great hops out there right now that the hop farmers are catering to us, and they're making these varietals that are just really nice and juicy and fruity and tropical, and we're having a ball. I mean, every time a new hop comes out, we're all excited. And we do a single hop series, so you can really see what that is. You know, we have one now with, let's see, I think it is El Dorado. And we're able to see what that hop does just to that beer by itself. Yeah. We're really not trying to make a great beer with this beer, but we're trying to see what this hop will do from bittery flavor and aroma and dry hop, and go, oh, now we know how to use this hop.
Yeah, and then to utilize it maybe later.
And as brewers, we love it because if, a couple guys wanted to use that hops, they'll come over here and try it. So it's kind of like an education for all of us.
Hey, well, cheers to that, man.
Cheers, man.
Heck yeah. That's good. And, well, tell me if I'm wrong. Is this beer, the category that this falls into, is it, like as just you're saying, Pilsner, like light beer, is this kind of like the Guinness style? Because, I mean, that seems what everyone would associate it with.
So Guinness is a dry stout.
Yeah.
This is considered a sweet stout or a cream stout. And then you have a foreign stout, which is just more alcohol. And then you have your imperial stouts. So, I mean, it's like different levels of using these roasted malts. And, of course, it is an ale. So it's going to kind of contribute the yeast profile that you're looking for. But this one is all just kind of about, like I said, low bitterness. We want those chocolate and roast malts to really kind of shine.
Totally, and it's definitely got like a creamy mouthfeel, really, really good.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I'm a big fan now. And this is probably the type of beer that I get the least. Yeah. Not because I don't like it, but I just end up.
I agree. Yeah. You'll never see me drinking my milk stout. It's kind of fun. Now I love big IBU imperial stouts.
Yeah.
We got a couple of those on as well. So those are the beers I like. Once again, more hops.
Totally.
But like, you can't always brew the beer that you always want to drink, because you have to realize, well, not everyone likes these styles of beers, but people do. Yeah. And this is one. What's one great thing about sweet stouts or cream stouts? You can drink a lot of them. Yeah. They're a little bit lower in alcohol, and there's no CO2 or carbonic acid in there. So if you're a stout drinker, you kind of enjoy that. You're able to sit down and have 5, 6, 7 of them. And,
yeah, and it doesn't put you in too bad of a place.
Exactly.
You're not keeling over.
Exactly.
That's, well, you know what? Let's take it back a little bit. So, come from Indiana.
Yeah.
What was beer and kind of? I'm sure it wasn't at the place it is now with this giant explosion that happened maybe in the last 15 years, but. Yeah. Was this kind of on your radar for something that you wanted to do, or did you fall into it?
I think always, when you're a brewer, there's a couple like milestones you want to reach. And one is doing an install, or basically designing your own, building one. Yeah. So, I did a couple of those, and then it got to a certain point, and of course you always want to own your own.
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
So you get to that part of your life, then you roll the dice and see what happens.
Yeah, because there's got to be that tipping point where it's, you're gotten X amount away from owning your own place, but there's just that final jump's got to be scary. I mean, that's probably why a lot of people back out.
Absolutely. It takes a certain, you just have to be in the right part of your life to make it happen. Yeah. So what's great about this community is other brewers that have done this before me have shared whether their business plans or their successes or failures. Yeah. So it's almost like a safety net that your friends and other brewers have gone before you, and so they're not going to let you fail. Yeah. We share a lot of information. which is great. I mean, we all play very nicely in a sandbox together.
Totally. I think that's great, kind of, because I think at least in Phoenix, who's to say maybe in San Diego, close to the beach, it's way more cutthroat, but here there's a lot of room for everyone to do well. So it's nice.
Absolutely.
It's nice to see people working together instead of like kind of hiding their stuff like you might imagine it could be.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's not in this industry, especially here amongst my people that we play with. You know, we share hops, chemicals, ideas, support each other. When things break, we can run over there and help them. You know, whatever the situation is. You know.
Yeah.
But
totally. I think that's great.
I do too.
We covered a little bit about all the art in here, but do you do a lot of that in your free time? Like, are you interested in the artistic aspect? Like, you have graffiti, all this custom-made stuff. Well, there's green tuss over there on deer antlers. Are you guys, obviously this was all made by you, or you have people come in and custom do the graffiti. Are you into that yourself?
Personally, I don't have a artistic bone in my body compared to brewing beer.
Yeah.
I can appreciate it. I love music by far, but been playing guitar now for 10 years. I couldn't play you a song if I had to.
Hey, but it's fun.
Yeah, but no, I just really have an appreciation of art. When it comes to the graffiti, let's say, it's like I've never given direction. You know, it's like whatever you guys want to do, they can do. Same with, you know, when it comes to letting people use this space for a gallery or pop-up events, we do a lot of that.
Oh, really?
You know,
I can see that.
You know, they're trying to get to brick and mortar. We have brick and mortar, so we can invite them in, and they have booths, and we'll have a shuttle that can move around to some of the other breweries.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a neat little thing
so
that we
cool.
do.
And like we're talking about, a win-win. You know, it doesn't have to be so segmented. That collaboration's huge.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Very cool. So tell me a little bit about, you guys have an event that you talked about coming up, right?
Yeah, the Barn Bash.
Yeah. Oh, so the Barn Bash. So is that going to be, are there going to be pop-up elements to that, or is it just kind of a party?
It's a big party.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's all about people getting tattoos. It's really neat when the band is done playing, and then you hear the tattoo guns in the background.
Yeah.
So we put them right out here, so people are getting tattoos. We got music. We'll have a band out there by the silo.
Yeah, yeah.
I love cowpunk. It's kind of a unique style, but Outlaw In-Laws, they play. The Hard Ways, so we have a nice little music scene here in Phoenix, and we kind of foster that, and it's been a great relationship, and people are, you know, we've kind of stuck our flag of this is who we are and what we are.
Is that your style of music that you enjoy listening to and by yourself, is kind of cowpunk?
I would say definitely. You know, I listen to everything, you know, I will say that, but from old school metal to jazz to cowpunk to, the only thing I'm probably not into is just modern country by no means.
What are the politics behind selling beer because that's got to be so different from marketing yourself to have people come in, but then to sell your own beer.
Yeah.
Is it hard to get it carried by you know, places that you want to, or are they more than happy to bring it?
I mean, we're very lucky with this state. Of course, anytime you're making alcohol is extremely regulated.
Yeah.
But the DLLC is great in this state. We can self-distribute, which certain states you can't. You would have to sell to a distributor, and then they would have to do everything. But in this state, I can basically get a phone call and drop a keg off on my way home today to anybody I want to.
That's
that's
cool.
really nice. Yeah.
That's so cool.
It's a great state to be a producer of, you know, any type of alcohol beverages. We're having some great distillers open up right now, so that's another great thing that's happening in this state.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. That's something that I was, I guess, unaware until it was already here, is that these distilleries are coming in, which is kind of a neat, like, craft liquor seems so foreign when craft beer is so common.
Yeah, we just did a really cool project. We had about 6 or 7 breweries come together, and we went out to Grand Canyon, and we brewed on their system. And without getting too geeky, prior to...
I was going to say, go ahead, man.
Prior to actually us being able to cultivate yeast, we would always let wild yeast from the air inoculate the wort.
Okay. Yeah.
So basically, as brewers, we make sugar water. Okay. Well, the yeast consumes the sugar and makes ethanol and 7 or 8 different off flavors, which we try to get below threshold so you guys can't taste them in every beer. So before we were able to cultivate the yeast, let's say, we would use a cool ship. Okay. A cool ship is nothing more than a very large vessel, shallow. Okay. So the 12 West, Noel basically fabricated his own out of stainless steel. And it's probably about 26 inches deep on the sidewalls and maybe 4 foot by 10 foot long.
Okay.
So we went up to Flag or Williams, brewed the beer. We shipped that sugar water in totes, and we took a forest road 2 hours down. And ironically, it was called the end of the world. When you would like do any post, it's like the end of the world. It's kind of neat.
I've heard about that.
So we put the cool ship on the edge of a canyon, which overlooked the north portion of Sedona Red Rocks.
Big cliff,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
So once we put that in there, we let it sit overnight and cool.
Yeah.
And then wild yeast inoculated it. So now we have this beer that we can't wait to see what
That's so
natural
cool.
Arizona yeast is doing.
That's crazy.
So that was a great little project. But back to that day brewing at Grand Canyon, they're starting to do some distilling.
Yeah.
So I got to spend time with their master distiller, and I learned a lot.
Yeah.
And it's really neat to taste their products and what they're doing, and they're just killing it with it.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Hey, I love that collaboration too.
Yeah,
Because it's
that's
two
great.
things that do share a lot of similarities. You
Yeah.
know, so it's one can imagine, just like we're talking about other breweries, that they would be, you know, a little hesitant to bring someone in and talk
Yeah.
all about their stuff. And it's great to see that's not the case.
Oh, it's not the
Yeah.
case. Yeah, we have a good time.
Yeah, we'll talk about getting geeky. Let's get geeky.
Alright.
Let's go in there and check out some
Cool.
of the stuff you guys
Absolutely.
got going.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right, now we've entered in, man, the area that I was so stoked, because you can see it from the main bar, the back of house area, the brewing area, and a special bar.
Yeah.
Why do you have the extra bar out here?
We started doing some more events. We never thought we'd be an event,
Yeah.
place. I think New Times even hit us top 10 places to have an event at.
No way.
So we can actually house, 100 to 300 people in here. But yeah, we had to build a bar out here. We do a direct draw system, so
Okay, yeah.
all the beers coming straight out of the serving vessel tanks. So
Hey.
it's never been stepped on. It goes straight to you guys. Best way to represent your product.
Totally.
But yeah, so now it's kind of like an overflow bar. We have these big events. People can rent out the beer garden, the receiving area. They can be partying in here, and we can actually serve. We usually do a line for mixed drinks, one for beer only.
Okay.
Sometimes we'll even just do the Pilsner and IPA and a sour on its own tap
Oh,
system
very
over
cool.
here, just
Yeah.
because that's what people want.
Yeah.
Flying
Yeah,
through
yeah.
the beer.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, this would be the place that, if I was to choose,
Yeah.
the whole place is awesome. But it's so cool to be back here, and you feel like you're really kind of like part of the whole deal, and just being this close to the tanks and seeing them working is, it's neat,
Ideally, when I first thought about designing this place after I bought the building, is I really wanted to have a central bar right in the middle of the brewery.
That would be crazy.
But then it kind of hit me. We're in Arizona.
Yeah.
It ain't gonna happen.
No,
when it's
totally.
too hot, nobody wants to be back in a warehouse drinking
Yeah,
beer.
yeah.
So we had to
But
put
it's a
a
nice
wall
happy
in.
medium.
It is,
It's a nice happy
absolutely.
medium.
You
Hey,
know, it's
cheers,
seasonal.
man.
All right,
Oh,
cheers,
and we
brother.
should talk a little bit. Well, let's take a sip too, and let's see if I can identify what it is. Well, you gave me a hint before that it's an IPA.
Yep. And that's
IBUs, let me guess.
Right.
45.
50, not too bad.
50, okay.
Yeah. And then plus or minus always, analytical
Yeah, yeah.
compared to lab is always plus or minus 5. So you might be right on.
Wow.
But yeah, that's that single hop I was telling you about. So it's great to just have that beer only with that one hop to see.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm drinking our house IPA. I just finally got this one to where I wanted it, and we're about 2 years in.
Just tweaking it a lot.
Well, that's kind of funny. I started, with probably about 5 hops in there,
Okay.
and just always trying to. And I don't know, this year I just started taking things out, and the more I took out of it, the more I started liking it.
Oh, yeah?
So maybe I was muddying up some of the hop varietals. We're not large enough yet to actually buy contracted hops.
Okay.
If that means I would buy 3-year future hops on a hop farm, and I would have that one hop consistent.
Oh,
So
I
now,
see.
yeah, I don't have that. So now I'm buying spot hops, and they could be coming from multiple farms and
Mm-hmm.
other places. So the consistency of those hops were changing on me.
Yeah, yeah. Because I mean, it's
So-
different,
Yeah.
differently sourced.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So by doing it that way, I wasn't happy with certain hops I'm getting, so I started taking them out one by one, and they're like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Finally get to it. So
It's a
yeah,
happy accident.
yeah,
Right? Happy accident.
accidentally perfect every
Yeah.
time.
Hey,
you know?
that's awesome.
Yeah.
I really like that, man. And what always makes me laugh a little is the names of the hops. And I'm not saying
yeah.
that I would name it different, but
Yeah.
look, it's like Galaxy hops. I think I saw one that was like brewed with Vicks hops. It's like just his name,
Yeah.
just Vic.
Yeah.
Apparently.
When they first start, they always have these crazy just numbers like
Oh, okay.
X331. you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
And what's really neat is the hop brokers or the hop farmers themselves, after they pelletize it, they send it out to some of us to try it
Yeah,
out.
okay.
And if we like it with some of their feedback, they'll take that X331, and before you know it, now it's called, let's say, Idaho 7.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, yeah.
So they kind of give it a name, but in the beginning, they're all just numbers because they're
Yeah.
trying them out.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of them, they're like, it's not one that we want to like really pursue because they're probably just cross-pollinating like crazy, just
Exactly.
testing out this,
Yeah.
that, this.
Yep.
That's pretty neat. Is there anything that so when you get the hops, you have to brew an entire batch of beer to test it, or is there some Is there
Yeah,
an
we
easy
do.
way to do like a small
Yeah, we don't do a
test?
pilot system here.
Okay.
We'll go full on. But once again, like I said, you're able to go to other breweries and try it, or
Yeah.
talk to the brewers.
That's true.
And ask them their opinion. You know, it's like, yeah, it's really great, but if you use all of it up in the bittering, you're going to get a lot of this harsh kind of green onion,
Yeah.
vegetated. The phenolics or polyphenols on there,
Okay.
they skyrocket on some of these, so
Yeah.
you got to be very careful with that. So by talking to other guys or tasting the beers, they're like, all right, you kind of know how to use it. Or, like I said, you do this single hop and try it.
Yeah,
So
and
now
see what it's all about.
Yeah, now I have that knowledge and I can share it with other guys, and I know how to use that hop in the future.
Yeah. Where are a lot of your hops coming from? I mean, because it can't all be. I've never come across a hop farm driving
Sure.
down the freeway, so
The majority of them's coming from the Yakima Valley,
Okay.
so upper Washington. There's a lot of hops. We also get some of the aroma hops are coming from the Mount Hood region.
oh really?
So
Very
it's
cool.
both sides of the mountain have different type of climates
Yeah.
in Terroir. So those are where the majority of American hops are coming from. Idaho's actually coming along.
Really?
And there are certain states, believe it or not, I think even New York City, they're not necessarily making, but you get tax incentives, I think.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on this, but for breweries to use local hops, they're giving them some type of
Oh,
incentive,
really?
which I think is kind of smart.
That's super smart because you
Yeah.
want to promote
Super
business
smart.
and
Absolutely.
it gives people opportunity
Yeah.
maybe who otherwise wouldn't. Is there any Arizona hops that you come across, or is it not even a thing?
They
like
actually
that?
grow here. I mean, they're wild
Yeah.
as a weed, and we found them on some hiking. But they don't have enough of the lupulin to give us what we're looking for, the flavor
Yeah.
compounds or bittering.
Yeah.
You know, and of course, back to hops, we use a lot of continental hops, European hops like Saws. You know, there's certain hops that you just can't get away from that you
Yeah.
just use on all your beers and you love.
Totally.
You know, I mean, they're the first ones to start to cultivate it, and there's some great hops. So yeah, we get hops from all over the place.
Yeah, being such an integral part of the beer process, hops and hop farming,
Yeah.
is it at all anything that seems interesting to you? Because I mean, often you find, well, I like this, so I kind of get into this a little bit. Is there anyone even doing, a brewery and they grow some of their own hops?
Sure. Oh yeah. Bell Breakers. They're one of my favorite ones. They're up in Washington. They're kind of the forefront of bringing Citra, which
Okay.
we all know Citra. We love Citra.
Yeah.
And that brewery is actually there in the hop farm. So there's a lot of hop farms with breweries that are doing that as well.
Okay.
So yeah, and they can get the fresh hop. They have
Yeah.
a great, every year they have a festival, fresh hop
Oh,
festival
wow.
up there.
Yeah.
So if you ever get up there, it's kind of neat.
Hey, I'd like to maybe we'll make a trip. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe the show will take off and we'll make a trip up to
Yeah,
Washington.
there you go.
know?
Absolutely.
But that's so cool. But it's kind of the other way. Like the farmers too, then they'll make a brewery site. It's not too many like brewers that then say we want to grow
Yeah,
our
it's
own
totally
hops."
different. I mean,
Yeah.
it's agricultural based industry. Same with our malt, and that's why I don't think people understand. I mean, the wine industry has us or has you guys, I should say, because they can have a bad year
Yeah.
and say like, well, this vintage is whatever, okay. And then the next year they can have a great Pinot Noir, and boom, the price per bottle can go up like $4 or $5, and
Yeah.
you guys are willing to pay for it.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, no. I could have a bad, barley harvest.
Okay, yeah.
They could have chitted on the vine. We could have had powdery mildew on the hops, and it changed everything. But you guys need or want and expect us to be consistent from batch to batch to
Totally,
batch. So
totally.
I can't say, oh, sorry guys, we have a powder mildew problem with our hops this year, and my IPA sucks.
Totally. It would never.
Yeah.
It's totally different.
Yeah.
I think that's, and I wonder if that's true to the distilling process because I think the higher alcohol you go, and I mean, you know what? I think I have a bad palate, but I'm just like I have a hard time picking up at best certain notes on a wine.
Yeah.
So I feel like if it changes a little,
Yeah.
I'm not really that perceptive to that.
Yeah.
But with beer, it's so much more about the flavor to me.
Yeah, and it's multi-dimensional. Not only,
Yeah.
I mean, wine is all about the grape and ethanol, and a lot of conditioning and barrel aging. But beer is totally multi-dimensional because it's hops, it's water. I mean, beer's 90% water, so the water
Yeah.
chemistry is huge on beer.
Yeah.
And then you got your barley, and then you have carbonic acid, the CO2, which can utilize a beer almost like a chef uses salts.
Okay.
The higher it is, more flavors we can
Yeah.
do, or we can scrub your palate and take all the lipids off of it, fats. Or we can let the flavors linger on your palate, like I do with my Scotch Ale or my rye or my
Yeah.
stout. I mean, those flavors just kind of stick with you a little bit.
Totally.
Yeah.
Have you thought of or looked at a beer that you've been kind of apprehensive about brewing? Have you tried everything, or is there something that you're like, I'd like to get to a point where I can do X?
Well, what we said earlier, the whole Sour House project that I want to
yeah.
get going, because once you start dealing with Pedococcus, Brettanomyces, I keep saying Brett, short for you guys. and
It's
start-
all Chinese to me.
Yeah, and once you start mixing cultures and yeast like that, that's a frontier that I haven't really gone into, and that's what I'm excited to do next. We're doing some mixed yeast here, but like I said, you have to be very cautious because if it does get loose in here, you're just risking. You know?
Totally.
You know,
Totally.
so, but it's new to me. I have a small lab back here. I spend a lot of my time in the lab.
Oh,
I
yeah?
kind of geek out about that.
That's cool.
So it's all about life underneath the microscope. So you get
Yeah.
to a certain point where putting the ingredients together, all right, we can do that.
Yeah.
Now, can we actually underneath the scope develop these flavors by inviting things that really shouldn't be there?
Yeah.
So we're able to try to manage that, and I think that's really neat. and cool.
Yeah, totally.
So that's
totally.
the next frontier. It's kinda
Yeah.
cool.
Do you see yourself, because this, we talked about a lot, just the scale of what you've built here. Do you ever see yourself outgrowing this place? And
I try not to. I mean, that's why I bought the biggest building. Once again, let's go back to people that have done this prior to me. You listen to them, they're like, buy the biggest building you can
Yeah.
because you will always need to grow into it.
and moving the equipment must be a nightmare.
It is,
Yeah?
but it's not too bad.
Okay, really?
It's you know, people look at it and like, you know, I can move this brewery in 2 or 3 days. You know?
Really?
So just get the trucks in
God, I
here.
can't even
load
like
'em up.
move my house in 2 or 3 days.
We're
What
just
tiny
saying the
house?
tanks, not the whole place.
Oh well, you know.
But no, it's why we did this. We're about 50% full now. We're at
Okay.
capacity, so as we grow into this, we're able to add more tanks. Another reason why I bought the building is because the apex of the main brew house is 22 feet. I can get 90 barrels in there. So
Yeah.
when I engineered and developed this place, I went ahead and stubbed out the utilities for a 30-barrel system. So if one day we grow to that level, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
We put a 300-gallon underground storage tank for our wastewater treatment plant.
Oh, you have a
So,
tank under here.
Yeah, so we did
Okay.
everything to grow into it. So
Yeah.
that way, I mean, when you do another brewery, I mean, just the engineer fees and architect fees and the city fees and permits.
Totally.
I mean, it's time,
It's
it's
got to
money.
be a nightmare at some
Yeah.
point.
So the big guys can afford it. I'm independent. I can afford it once.
Yeah.
Don't want to do it
you
again.
did it. You ripped that
Yeah.
Band-Aid off. And,
You know,
yeah.
we totally built this place, you know, by ourselves. You don't open up the phone book and find brewery installer.
No,
There's no such thing as us.
I'm sure you have to pay
you know?
so many different specialty.
Yeah.
Then guy's looking at this, guy's looking at the steel, then a guy's looking at the ground. I kind of came from that world. I have an engineering degree, and I used to work for an engineering firm, just doing fire sprinklers.
Sure.
And you know, it's a whole operation when I was over there, just doing that one thing. And we're interacting with, then the guy's doing the HVAC, then the guy's doing plumbing, then the guy's doing this, doing that. And I can only imagine here, it's even tenfold because it's not just a house that, you know, the toilet needs to flush.
Right.
It's like, well, we need all these things moving.
Are you mechanical or civil?
I actually was systems and industrial
Oh.
engineering.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Environmental. So,
Oh,
yeah.
hey. Well, hey, look at that. Cheers to that, man.
Right.
Hey, we're out there, you know.
Oh, yeah.
There's engineers who aren't weird out there. 2 of them right here.
Well, that's kind of funny. That's how I ended up being here. When with the firm I was at, I remember thinking in a young age, it's like, there's not one guy here I really wanted to have a beer with. So do you really want to be in a cubicle all day
Yeah.
dealing with environmental lawyers and doing this engineering? I'm like, no, I don't.
Yeah.
You know, so.
Well, good for you for,
Yeah,
for
moved on to
making
being
the
a
jump.
brewer.
Yeah. And that was, how long were you a practicing engineer at that
Oh,
time?
just about 1.5 years, if that. So
Man,
just
it
fresh out and just enough to realize and make that change.
That was me.
Yeah.
I mean, well, hey, I didn't do something as cool as going to brewing, but I did, a year and a half, and I was like, I can already see this ain't for me.
Yeah.
You know, and it's hard, but yeah, you gotta do something that
Gotta
you're
have
excited
passion,
about.
you know. So, and yeah, but it gave me the chemistry, the physics, the fluid dynamics,
Totally.
the thought pattern to design and build breweries.
Totally. I mean, and
So-
you're talking about your lab. I'm sure
Yeah.
it's a legitimate lab. It's not just some podunk
Yeah.
barrels of beer or whatever.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Yeah, that's fun, man.
Well, hey, do you mind? Let's move back to the tank
Absolutely.
area.
Let's show you the
Let's get
brewery.
into the meat and potatoes of it.
All right, cool.
All right. So now we're finally to where I was so excited to be. We're in all the tanks, all the action's happening, and things are going on, man. Look at this. It's like all these tanks. What is this? First of all, why are they all bubbling?
All right, this is what we call a tank farm. So this is your fermentation. So after we make the wort and we hopped it, we bring it over here, and this is where we're going to add the last ingredient, yeast. Yeast is going to consume the sugars and produce ethanol. Makes you guys all warm and fuzzy.
Yeah.
But also, what you're hearing is the attenuation takes about 4 or 5 days, and this is the CO2 being blown off.
Oh, okay.
So that bubbling you guys are picking up on these are what we call De Beers in primary. So we might start off with maybe 15 to 16% sugar concentration. They'll go all the way down to 1 or 2. Those are going to be your unfermentable sugars that we leave in the beer.
Okay.
Like that sweet stout you had a higher unfermentable. So in other words, the chains of carbohydrates and sugars are too big for the yeast to consume, so we
Okay.
do that on purpose, leave it in the beer. Such as the IPA you're drinking right now.
Yeah.
I want it to cook all the way down and make it nice and dry, no residual sugars.
Totally.
So the yeast will determine that.
Okay.
Water to grist, there's a lot of factors that go into that. But after they've consumed the sugars, we're going to make them go dormant. That's why if you look, they have glycol going to all these tanks. I can control the temperature and put the yeast to sleep. So we drop the temp 5 to 10 degrees per day.
Okay.
And what happens is Stokes' law. It's going to come, anything that's more denser in liquid falls out of it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So that's why these have a cone on. So at the bottom here is pure yeast, and then I have beer on top of this one. This is my IPA that I brewed on 419. So we're able to take the yeast from this batch, you know, and put it over and use the yeast for the next one that I'm brewing.
Yeah, yeah.
So we keep the yeast going, and it goes up to the next generation. So long as it's viable, in other words, X amount of, well, 90% living cells and 10% dead, then we keep using that strain on and on and on. So
that's so cool. It's been, it's been a long time since I heard Stokes' law. I think that was one of those that I knew for one test, and then
out the door it goes. And people think we're brewers. In all reality, we're stainless steel cleaners and we're yeast farmers.
Yeah.
It's all about the yeast. You know, that's why I spend all the time in the lab underneath the
Maintaining
microscope,
it.
looking at, make sure they're healthy and happy.
Yeah.
And giving them what they need.
Yeah. Hey, well, cheers, man.
Cheers, brother.
Cheers. So this is the
This
IPA
is
that you had
normal
before.
IPA. No,
Okay.
Yep, what I had and you haven't had
Okay.
it
Yeah, I have not.
yet. Yep.
Ooh, that's good.
A lot of Simcoe and Citra, a lot
Yeah.
of dry hops.
Yeah, the Citra I can taste.
We actually had to fabricate our own hop bomb. We do a lot of fabrication here. We fabricated our own hop tub, or Copper State that did it. He's an amazing fabricator. So he comes here a lot. Between me and Andrew and Rob, we started talking about ideas, and this guy can fabricate pretty much anything we want out of stainless or steel.
That's crazy.
We did an 8-head fill keg filler. You know,
Okay.
because when I was cleaning kegs, we'd take the kegs and clean them, then we'd move them once, then move them twice to fill them, move them 3 times onto a pallet. I'm like, that's stupid. So now we clean kegs, put them on this pallet with a pallet jack. It goes right underneath the keg filler. We fill 8 kegs at a time, and nobody's ever lifted a keg. That's a great way to do it.
That's so much better.
So much efficient.
Yeah,
you know?
totally. And you know what? Maybe that is the engineering part of you that's just constantly looking to increase efficiency. And it's why work harder? You know, work smarter.
Yeah, that's where the hop tub came in, because now we're able to dry hop in this device. It's on casters, and it's basically 2 barrels, 75 gallons, and we're able to move it around, do a hop charge, inject it back in, and that way it gives us a lot of different things to do. Like, we utilized it to make our oatmeal coffee brown. So we put beer in there, we added the coffee, we willed it into the walk-in. It sat there for 3 or 4 days until we got the flavor compounds we were looking for, then we inject it right back into the beer.
That's so cool. That's crazy that you guys are able to operate that kind of on like a micro level, do like little things here, little things there. Because to me, it's a huge operation. The thought of the idea of you guys just doing minor alterations seems impossible. But
well, that's why you have to fabricate. And we looked at, I don't want to say the name of it, but it was 2 stories high and X amount of dollars for this, and we took all the measurements and we're like, hey, we can make our own, can't we?
Yeah.
So we do that a lot. We're like, can we make that? I'm like, yeah, we can make
I
that.
think that's beautiful.
Yeah,
You know?
out of necessity, being a young company as well, you just don't have the cash flow to afford to buy these things brand new.
No, and I can imagine that it's astronomical because it's not like it's something that's being made by 1,000 companies.
Yeah.
So there's not that much competition driving it down. But hey, if you can build it, why not?
Yeah.
And speaking of building, before we started filming this, I saw the coolest thing I've ever seen. Is you have an apartment here in the brewing area.
Yeah.
How
absolutely.
crazy! How cool is that?
Well, I did it for 2 reasons. One, it's a hot environment. When we're done brewing, we're just filthy, dusted. So it's really nice to be able to take a shower and go up front and have beers with people like you guys and talk to you. If not, you really wish I did have a shower.
Just some guy comes up sweating. And I don't know, man.
And 2, during the install and the beginning parts of, owning your own company, you're here constantly. You're just always here. So it's really nice to just go ahead and go in there and,
And hey, I saw it's simple, but it's all you would need, If you're working here, if it's like 2 in the morning and you're finishing up.
Yeah.
What do you want? The last thing you want to do is get in your car, drive home, do this, that. You just walk right back there, take a shower, go to bed.
Yep. And you wake up at 5, 6 in the morning, do it again. So
Oh,
yeah,
God.
it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
That's awesome, though. I really, really like that, man. I feel like this area, and now that I'm back here, I can see what you're talking about. Like, there is room to grow. It's huge, but you guys have so much going on. But yeah, you didn't build yourself into a corner.
Yeah, I mean the tank farm's going to go all the way this way. The 30 barrel system one day when we get to that will be over that way. So yeah, we have everything stubbed out and ready, and it's just about timing when pull the trigger, spend the money, get another system in here. But we're always going to keep this a smaller system. We got these 30 barrels, so as brewers, when we talk about barrels, that's basically 2 kegs. So we can do 60 kegs in our Bright and 60 kegs in our fermenter.
Okay.
But we have different sizes. I got 24s and I got a couple 16s. So we're always able to experiment on small batches.
Yeah.
Because even a 16, 32 kegs, that's a great way to see if we like the beer and what the general, consensus with the public, and then we can move it to a larger system.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, when they get into something, and this is obviously a passion project, but a lot of people when they get into something, their goal is maybe one day to be bought out. At least where you're at right now, is that even, like, would you guys, because some people are saying I'd never sell, no matter what. Is it that important to you?
It is. I want to put my name on it, if not. And of course, when I was talking to some of my investors, they always ask what your exit strategy is, and I don't have one really. You
want to just ride it till the wheels fall off.
Exactly.
I love that.
You build a company, and we're going to just own my backyard. I mean, you can never out local. So my whole game plan is just to stay local and just try to brew the best beers I possibly can.
Yeah, I think that's so huge. Are you excited at the prospects of moving into other, because it's all local, but big beer is coming in, or I mean, there's a lot of beer going into Tucson. There's a lot of beer in Flagstaff already. Is that exciting? Do you ever dream of a world in which you're there, here, all over?
We've started to get our beer up in Flagstaff, and we've been accepted up there extremely well. Great relations with Dark Sky and Mother Road, of course, and we got bars like State Bar that sells our product. And, it's always nice to walk into a place and the bartender has your Helton logo T-shirt on, and they're selling your beer, and people at the bar is drinking your beer. So Flagstaff's been very, very receptive to us. We're about ready to move into Tucson. I don't have a salesperson yet. We're about ready to go in to have a salesperson.
Okay, you've been kind of doing that role yourself.
Yeah, me, Rob, Jurgen, everyone here is kind of a functional hat-wearing person. We all do a little bit of everything.
Yeah, hey, I'm a hat. Hey, me too, man. Hat-wearing person.
So no, we're all doing it together. We finished pretty well this year with the amount of barrels we've done. So it's nice steady growth that I'm trying to achieve.
Yeah. Do you see a lot of, because there's a lot of these breweries in like Tombstone and really small areas.
Yeah.
They seem to be penetrating, but I think it's because any move is like a huge leap. But Phoenix is kind of the mecca in terms of, if you're talking about Flagstaff, Tucson, Phoenix. So it's cool to see you guys excited about moving into that area instead of just saying, well, we'd like to open a Mesa location, and then we'd like to open a whatever Surprise.
Yeah.
Because I think it's cool to have your presence in a bigger area.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm sure it'll keep you busy.
Yeah.
You're not busy enough, right?
Yeah. Keep the equipment hot.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's so fantastic. And I've got to say, I've enjoyed every single beer tremendously that I've been here. I can imagine the selling must not be, when something's this good, how much do you have to sell it? Just let them try it, right?
Well, that's pretty much been our philosophy so far. Just get the product in front of them. And the Phoenix scene right now is so great because a lot of people are coming down here and they want to take a tour of the facility, and we'll give them a tour, we'll give them a whole sample, and let them pick the beers they want. And even before we started to work with a delivery company, I was doing all the deliveries myself on my truck, and we still do a lot of that. But it was also really nice to see people go, you know what, we'll come and get the beer. We want your beer to the point. So there's a lot of great beer bars and restaurants and a lot of support in the Phoenix community right now on craft beer. And it's great. I honestly think we're about 5 years from being away from another San Diego. I mean, the craft beer scene is blowing up right now.
Yeah.
We have a lot of us young guns that are out there. 12S, BRI, Weedy down Tombstone. I can keep going on and on and on. That we are doing these collabs together, and the more we work together, the more we're bringing awareness to the beer consumer that, hey, you know what? We got some really, really talented brewers here,
yeah.
you know, in Phoenix, and we don't necessarily need to support and let, you know, the California brewers colonize our state.
Totally.
You know,
Totally.
we're trying to take back our state, and we have some really good stuff that's being brewed right now, you know?
I think that's awesome. And it's the cross promotion that you guys are doing that I think has just been beneficial for everyone.
Oh, absolutely.
So if you had to give one message, what you felt like your vision that you've accomplished here at Helton Brewing for someone who's never been here, or maybe someone like me who came when they were really drunk and they don't remember.
Sure.
You gotta tell them what you guys are all about. What are you guys all about?
For me, been brewing as long as I have is the purity of the craft. I love the industry. I love the craft. Keep true to brewing beers that the people want, you know, and just giving the most solid foundation beers you can get out there. And keep giving people unique beers and keep changing it up.
Yeah.
You know, so, and just constantly playing. So that's what we're trying to do. We believe in education a lot. We do beer schools here, beer colleges here. We give tours at any given time. If you guys are down here, I'll give someone a tour. Love it.
That's so cool.
So yeah, it's all about education.
Yeah. I noticed that your sign back here does not say employees only. It says something like must be escorted. So I was like, oh, they must bring a lot of people back here.
Yeah, we do. We're constantly giving tours. Absolutely.
That's so cool. Well, hey, I've thoroughly enjoyed mine, as you can tell.
Yeah.
I didn't even mean to, but it's
you're out drinking a brewer today.
Hey, well,
That's pretty nice.
Man. So, sometimes you got to go for it.
Yeah.
But hey, cheers. Thank you so much for having us, and I really
you.
appreciate it. It's been a pleasure.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
I'll be back.